Good afternoon. We are back again for our Wellness Wednesday event. I am Tedra Perkins, the Child and Adolescent Coordinator at Odyssey Family Counseling Center, and we have an amazing guest from Fulton County Schools who Elise will introduce in just a few minutes. We want to first give you just the information about we have more October dates that are coming for you all very soon. So please look out for those dates. It will again be Wednesdays at 12 p.m. We are so excited. This month is Suicide Prevention Month, so we are continuing with our series from last week, discussing suicide and how that we can continue to help and save lives and each other. So again, I am Tedra Perkins, the Child and Adolescent Coordinator of Odyssey Family Counseling Center, and we have Elise.
Hi, everyone. It's good to be back with you today. My name is Elise Payne. I'm the school-based program coordinator at Odyssey Family Counseling Center, and I'm really excited today to introduce to you somebody who a lot of you probably have heard or have interacted with people that she works with. This is a very important person. We're very glad to have her. This is Chelsea Montgomery. She's the executive director of the Office of Student Supports. And basically, if a student is having any kind of concerns or whatever, it lands with her department, and she is the one leading those amazing social workers, counselors, psychologists, anybody like that. That's what she's working with. So thank you so much, Chelsea, for being here today and for talking with us today about suicide prevention and student success skills.
I'm happy to be here. Hi, everybody. I'm Chelsea Montgomery, as Elise said, with the Office of Student Supports. We take care of everybody here in Fulton. So I look forward to talking with you today about things that we have going on and things that we have coming up. I'm excited to be here.
Yes, thanks so much for being here. So right now is the beginning of phase 3 in Fulton County Schools. We've just started phase 3, and with the plans in October of heading into the voluntary face-to-face 5 days a week. So what has Fulton County Schools done to support students coming back to school?
Yeah, so I'd say the most important thing is we didn't wait. We didn't wait until students are rolling back in October. With the rapidly changing tides of the pandemic, we knew we couldn't. So actually starting the beginning of August, we started with something we called our LAC protocol. So locate, assess, and connect. So we started looking for our students, assessing their needs and connecting them with resources really with the first week in August. So we wanted kids back in school, even virtually, as soon as school started, because it's been a while since March happened. So we spent several weeks looking for kids and figuring out what they needed. And we learned a lot too about leveraging resources and just really the status of where our families were. The schools did a great job putting large teams together to work on that. So we had really good turnout the very beginning of school because of that work. And then once the kids were back, even virtually, we started something called our restart module. So all the teachers in Fulton, grades 3 through 12, taught lessons to the kids. The first week was emotions. The second week was stress management. The third week was their support systems. And then last week was the last week rounding out with resilience. So not only did the teachers get that content, but then they also re-delivered lessons through our Rethink Education partner on all of those content areas. So I think the biggest thing is we didn't wait.
That is
great. You're proactive.
Yes. I think that is so helpful for families to know that you all decided, hey, we know what we are going into this school year, so let's go ahead and be proactive, start now, so that parents know what's going on, which is so helpful for them because it gives them some reassurance of, okay, all right, it seems very chaotic now with just the pandemic in general, but now knowing that they have a school district that is saying, hey, we understand your needs, we understand the stressors, let's go ahead and start acting on it now so that we can be so helpful for you all.
Yeah, it makes me think of what the collaborative is all about, the South Fulton Mental Health Collaborative. We are a partnership with, of course, Odyssey Family Counseling Center, Fulton County Schools, and the South Fulton Parents for Education group, because you guys recognized the concerns and the needs that we had in South Fulton and recognizing the importance of mental health. So, as the person who's the executive director of the Office of Student Supports, what are your thoughts on the importance of mental health at this time?
Yeah, well, I will take this opportunity to say September is Suicide Prevention and Awareness Month. That does look a little different in the remote environment. Usually we do our signs of suicide lessons and things like that during this month, but without kids available to their, without counselors available down the hall, we were a little more hesitant to be as aggressive with some of that content. We did push out resources to our students and to our parents, and I believe we're going to put that in the comments as well. Yes. So go ahead and snag those while you guys are all here. So that is some of it, but also this is just rough. It is, we have lots of feelings of anxiety, depression, isolation. This is strange. There is nothing normal about any of this that anyone has experienced. So I think the biggest thing we're trying to do with mental health is just get talking. That stigma is still there. We've got to be really intentional about having real conversations and talking about feelings. It's okay. We're going to have to. It can't be this taboo subject. Suicide can't be, mental health can't be. We've got to just start having conversations. I know sometimes they can be weird, they can be awkward, but the best thing all of us can do is just get talking about it.
Yeah, talking about it, those conversations are so important. We say that, I think every week, Tedra, that we're on here, no matter what topic we're on, of the importance of you are not alone. And talking about it and being, being able to be even slightly vulnerable to say that something might be going on for you. There's a whole host of resources and a whole host of other people around you who could be supportive and engaged with you too. And so I think that, we're going to post those resources that specifically Fulton County Schools has developed for its students and the community around the schools. But also, to know that the staff and the higher ups at Fulton County really value making sure that students have the supports that they need if there's a mental health concern or if there's a huge challenge going on for the family.
I think we do it all the time. I mean, you answer the phone or you call somebody and go, hey, how are you? And we all go, oh, it's fine. And then keep talking. We need to take that minute to actually stop and answer truthfully. It's fine to say, you know what? Not really great. Today is not fun. That's okay. And even when, kids get in the car or you see your neighbor and they say, oh, how are you? Oh, fine. Ask again and go, no, but really, how are you? So we need to take the minute to answer, and maybe we need to ask twice. But even just little things like that change the narrative.
Yes. And it definitely helps for us to model that behavior as adults when we model that for the students, because then it puts them in the position to where they're like, oh, I can express my emotions. It is okay. It doesn't make me seem like I'm weak for saying I don't feel happy or I'm sad or I'm angry. That actually means that you are using your strength, because you're saying, you know what? I do feel stressed. I am very angry about what's going on, or I'm afraid. That's the biggest one, is admitting fear. It's saying, you know what? I'm afraid. I don't know. And that's really great for us to just say, okay, you know what? Let's model that. How am I doing? Let me process that for a minute. You know what? I have had mostly a great day, but I still feel very stressed, and it's okay.
Yeah, I saw online, I can't remember the exact area, but I saw it and it said, no, we're no longer allowed to ask, how are you doing? We're all doing pandemic fine, which is just a general level of stress, concern, and then there are going to be more stressors that come up that are normal in life, but because we're at pandemic fine, which is a higher level of stress, those other things really can tip us over to a point that it does become a concern. It does become something that we really need, specialist support with or something like that. And the really important thing to know about, suicide and suicide prevention work is that asking somebody if they might be feeling like they want to give up or not want to be here anymore is not going to put a thought into someone's head. It actually opens up the conversation, because having those thoughts is not that uncommon. It's, it's something that a lot of people struggle with, or that it comes through. And I mean, if we're going through all of this stuff. Everybody has wished that this pandemic would be over and that we could go to something different, that life wouldn't be like this just normally. That would be a normal response to this situation. So to remind people that having those thoughts and feelings and maybe opening up the conversation with others is not something that's going to cause more concern. It actually will open up the conversation and allow people to get the support and help that they need.
That's so important. Yeah. It's not giving people ideas. It's giving them a space to talk about it and to open up.
Yes. And definitely, like, even with some of our comments, we have some people in our comment box just saying, even just by asking, how are you doing? Letting others know. From Dr. Beth Harris, she was saying, and tell them that it's okay if you aren't doing okay today.
Yes.
It is okay. It's not saying that it is, oh, you're not doing okay, there's something wrong with you. It's okay to not be okay. And asking different questions. We have another comment just saying, one person said they ask about, like, well, how are you doing right now? How are you doing yesterday? How are you doing? Like, really asking those questions, because sometimes we miss it a little bit. We miss, like, oh, well, how were you yesterday? How are you today? How are you in this moment? How was your entire day? And so asking those questions, so definitely good comments, guys. Please continue to comment and ask questions. Any questions that you may have for Chelsea, definitely put those in the comments. But those were great comments in there.
Yeah, so Chelsea, we've talked about, some of the things that Fulton County was proactive, recognized very early on. We need to get this, and you guys set up plans and set things together. And as one of your on-site partners, we're working with you all through the pandemic to meet the needs of our students and the schools that we support. What will the ongoing support look like, for families as they're transitioning right now?
Yeah, and I think this time of transition is important. I've heard some say, like, we just have to get through this. Actually, we need to be doing things though during this time. This isn't a lull. We can't back off during this time. We have several things in place. So I'm very proud that we have an on-site partner in every Fulton County school. So there is, so every single school has one. If you are curious who is your on-site mental health partner at your child's school, the best person to probably reach out to is your school counselor. They will know. And not only do we have a partner in every school, finally, we've gotten some support around solving some insurance challenges, which is very helpful in certain parts of our county. And then also, we've supported every one of our partners in having a student group at every school. And then we're also trying something new. We're trying a parent group in every school. So we don't know how that's going to go, but we know that this is a rough time to be a parent. So we want to support you. So we're trying that out. We'll see how that goes. We also have something called Text for Help available to all of our middle and high school students. So this is unique to Fulton County. It's supported by our commissioners. And what it is it is a phone number, and I'll make sure we put it in the comments as well, that all middle and high school Fulton County students can text, and a licensed clinical professional will respond to them in under 3 minutes, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, completely for free. And it's totally anonymous. So kids can feel safe that they are protected in that space. So we know that there's stigma attached to this. We know our kids are dealing with a lot. So we wanted to give them an option and an outlet that they could reach out to someone. And it's not necessarily for crisis. They may be feeling stress. They may be feeling fear. Whatever you're feeling, that's okay. You can always text this number. So that is something that we have. We also have a school counselor at every building, and that's lots of times more than one. And every school is also assigned a social worker and a psychologist. So there are local supports at your school. And even if you opt to remain virtual for the rest of the semester, you're still connected to that school and those resources. So don't think that because your child isn't on campus, they can't access those supports. Including all of our mental health partners are set up for telehealth. So there's no reason to wait. We've been making referrals. We can make referrals now. It actually works really great. We get to do a lot more family supports. I think we all surprised ourselves with how well it worked.
Yes.
So those partners are available now. You don't have to wait until we get back. And then probably the biggest thing that we have going on is we did our restart module at the beginning, but Fulton County Schools was already working on this. We are rolling out what we are calling student success skills, which is our social emotional learning curriculum. So we have The majority of schools are continuing straight through and with their weekly student success skills lesson. Some schools have opted to wait till January because that's what works best for them. But after January, every school in Fulton will have a weekly lesson on, there's also academic content in there as well, like reflective learning, social competence, self-awareness, all of our 6 areas. So they have standards, all teachers are teaching it just like academics. My background was academics before student support, so that will always be my roots. So it looks a lot like academics. It feels like academics. The curriculum is incredible. If you want to check out the curriculum as a parent, all you have to do is get on your child's class link and click on the little logo. It is yellow and has an R and an E. That's our Rethink curriculum. Everything that's accessible to teachers is accessible to you. So you can check out, there are learning modules for adults around these topics that are more adult focused. So if you want to work on some of your own self-awareness, self-management, resilience, there's great content in there for adults. And then all the content for kids is in there as well. So we were already working on it. It's just very interesting timing that we needed this right now.
Yes, that's amazing that it was like already in the works. You guys are already prepared for it. It didn't have to be something like, we have to scramble and get it all together. You were already valuing it and making sure to put energy, effort, and, drive into making sure that parents and students had this information. And then it just happens to be that it was ready to go in the time of 2020. I mean, that's just the perfect match of the needs of what's going on with something that was already being prepared ahead of time. That's amazing.
And it shows how much hard work you all are putting into really supporting the families, because the fact that it was ready to go is like, it took a lot of time and effort for you all to do this. And I just being an on-site partner, I just want to let everyone know how having an agency in every school was actually before the timeline it was supposed to be. You had a timeline to set it in the schools, and it happened, what was it, a year and a half before the deadline?
We maxed out a year and a half early. Yep.
Yes. And that shows your hard work for the schools and for the families, for the fact that you all were able to set this goal, but then you were able to achieve the goal in so much, in such quicker time than you thought that you were going to do it.
Yeah, it makes all the difference. Without a doubt, we can't do this work on our own. There are lots of restrictions and rules and time constraints, and there's all kinds of things. It's public education. So we needed partners, and we got creative and figured it out, and just couldn't be any more grateful. Our partners all host events for schools, whether they are staff wellness events, parent events. You can always ask your school what upcoming events are happening with your partners. So it is not just and I hold this very close, it is not just a place in the school to provide therapy to kids. It's not. It is a true partnership. There are groups, there are events. We work very closely and together to make sure that everyone has the best fit for them and that they're getting a partner to walk alongside them, not just something on paper.
And it's truly community based. I think that's also what is so amazing is that, Odyssey obviously is where we work, and we're partners with more than 24 Fulton County schools, I think. And so we're all over South Fulton, and we are located in South Fulton. We are our staff, some of them live out here. Obviously, we all work there, but we all are invested in the community of South Fulton. So it's not some, somebody from California calling in to do virtual sessions. It's people who are really here, who are invested in the work, and who Odyssey has been around for more than 40 years, and we've been working with Fulton County for several years. So it's not something that's been this short thing. It's been something that has been a connection that has allowed us to work longitudinally with schools and families, to see growth in schools and families of areas that they need support in.
Yeah, the community aspect is so important, because what we usually find is sometimes the child may need medication and may need a psychiatrist. So it's important that our partners have them on staff. Sometimes they need family therapy. Sometimes they have a sibling that might need therapy. So being able to connect with the whole family and close. to have
Yes.
main offices located near the schools that they serve is critically important. The
Yes.
whole purpose of our on-site partnership is to remove barriers and increase access.
Mhm.
That's the purpose. So we make sure that our partners meet those needs.
Yes, it's amazing. And it's helping combat that stigma. I mean,
Yes.
stigma is a huge conversation. It's something that we face every day in working with students and families, just because of the world not being great sometimes, and having a lot of challenges that have come up, especially for our communities in South Fulton. I mean, we've discussed that in our previous Wellness Wednesdays, that there are very specific challenges that the community that we work in face that is
Yes.
different than other communities around us. And there's nothing wrong with that. It just is the history of what's gone on. But we have to know that history, respect the community, and then be able to move forward with a plan. And I love that, you know, the South Fulton Mental Health Collaborative was an answer to a request from the
Yes.
parents and families of Fulton County. We want more supports this way, that we want to see these things happen. And so it's amazing that this collaboration has built up, and now we've been able to do these, you know, Wellness Wednesdays and have other support in the community. So it's really amazing that we're able to do this, but also we know we have a long road ahead of us. So we're not going to combat stigma and have it all done by 2022. You know, we're going to have that long-term community thing is going to be necessary as we move forward. So we've talked a lot about, you know, Fulton County and all the supports it has, but, you know, we've got a lot of parents who are involved in the South Fulton Parents for Education group is our partner with the South Fulton Mental Health Collaborative. So what tips, you know, Chelsea, in all the work that you've done over the years, what tips do you have for parents that are struggling right now? Somebody who might be sitting here is watching this on their lunch break, or is watching it later tonight once the kids are in bed and are really struggling. What tips do you have for them?
First and foremost, just like we talked about, talk about it.
Yes.
Talk about your own feelings. You got to open up. You got to be brave, and model that for kids. And I also think be nice to yourself right now. Self-care is very underrated. This is not normal. This is not easy. Give yourself a break. Everything is not going to be perfect. Everything is not going to go as you planned. We got to let go of a little bit of that. So be nice to yourself. Take care of yourself. And talk to your kids. Just ask them, you know, probe a little bit, ask them questions, and make them think about how are you really feeling? How are you really doing? Because they could be experiencing emotions that they don't necessarily know what's happening. For little kids to experience fear around masks and have to, you know, can't give hugs, that's not normal. Their reaction is to reach for hands, to reach out. So you have to have conversations about that. And not just the rules, but how does that make you feel? That's really important. We have a lot of events. It is hard to stay in the loop on all of them. The South Fulton Mental Health Collaborative is a great place to start. I am pretty active on Twitter, so I try to tweet out lots of events that we have going on. Chris 180 is offering parent forums and student forums this week, and I think maybe a few next week. I tweeted that out today. And I try to get things to the Fulton County Schools Twitter as well, so they push it out too. So try to stay on top of some of those events and find them. We try to push them out. If anybody has any great ideas of how to get those out, I will take all that feedback, because that is a challenge. And check out the rethink lessons. If you don't know how to have some of these conversations, that's okay. That's what those lessons and that parent access is for. And again, on your students' class link, it has everything, so you can access it all there. In addition, I believe it is the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. There are some links in the resources that we're going to attach. It's called #RealConvo. So how to kind of some starters, some videos, some things to enter that space with your kids. But first and foremost, take care of you. Things are not okay right now, so take care of you first.
I think that is great, Chelsea. That actually goes along with one of the questions that we received in our comments about, it says, so they're thinking that a lot of parents look for their kids to seem sad, and what are some other things that parents should be looking for that might indicate that their child needs support?
I'd say the number one thing is a change in behavior. So it might not be a specific emotion to a different emotion. It's just different. And there's a difference between having one bad day and seeing a difference over time. So if you see that change, whether or not it's outbursts and tantrums, more angry than usual, more snippy, just a little more short than they usually are, that change is a red flag. Now, how much of a red flag? You know, that can be different, but you're not looking for the specific emotions. You're looking for that change. That's what will tip you off to something doesn't seem right here. And you're not alone in this. Reach out to your school counselors. That's probably your first line of go-to. Reach out to their teachers and say, are you seeing the same thing that I'm seeing? And see if it matches up. We have lots of kids that hold it together really well during the school day and then fall apart at night, or vice versa. So it's really looking for that consistency and that change that is when you kind of need to realize something's up and you need to have a harder conversation.
That is great. Thank you. I think that really does make a sense. And someone else also said that, you know, changes in eating may also be a red flag. So like those other behaviors like eating, they're sleeping. So if they aren't sleeping as they normally would. So if it's harder to get to sleep or to stay asleep, they're waking up in the middle of the night. So those are some things to also add to that. So thank you all for comments. Please continue, bring your questions. This is great.
Yeah, like an increase in nausea is sometimes that's usually something that we can see with anxiety. So yeah, there are physical symptoms and there are also, you know, behavioral symptoms.
Yes.
But it's that change. The change is what you're looking for.
Yes, and you know, as September is Suicide Awareness Month and suicide prevention, we also want to make sure that if a child or anybody, in fact, who you're around, makes statements about not wanting to be here anymore, wishing they were dead, or does, you know, acts like they start to kind of tidy things up and prepare things as if they weren't going to be here, if they're going on a trip or something that would seem unusual. You know, those are also some signs that there might be a crisis that could be coming up. And so that's where you ask the question, and we're going to put out the resource and everything, but we have the Georgia Crisis and Access line that's 24/7. It's it's not anonymous because they're going to make sure no one else can see that you called them, but they are going to make sure someone gets to you if someone needs to come and support you or give you resources to go somewhere. And that's the Georgia Crisis and Access line. It's 1-800-715-4225. And that number, I'm a therapist, obviously, so I've got it on the top of my head because we talk about it with families and children that we work with all the time, that, you know, somebody might be doing okay, and then you start to see a behavior change, and then some things start to show up, and maybe they're talking about not wanting to be here, or they start spending a lot of time alone, and you're starting to get concerned. Those are all things that we are just mindful of, because we don't want something to happen to anybody that is in our community. Like I said, a couple of weeks, I think it was last week, Tedra, we said how important it is that there's a lot of work to do in our community, and we want our community to be better. So we need all of you to be here. We need you to be here. We need you to be a part of the team. And if you're feeling exhausted, worn out, and potentially you or someone you know might be thinking about wanting to harm themselves or other people, that is something that we can work with. That's not something that will be forever. That's something that you can get supports with fairly easily in your area. So please don't ever think that, you know, you're alone, lost, and you have no access to anything. Fulton County Schools is, you know, Chelsea's just gone over how many amazing supports that they have for students and families, but also that, you know, there are other resources, and we'll make sure to keep posting that stuff. We've also been posting a lot about suicide prevention and awareness, and some concerns about different, you know, it's different for each population, you know, different people with different identities kind of go through different stages of it. So there's all those resources on our Facebook and our Instagram page. So make sure you check those things out and like and subscribe. So we've got a couple minutes before our end time. Tedra, any more comments, any more things that we need to make sure we hit on before we say goodbye today?
No, we actually just have a lot of different people just tagging in, just saying, just other additional things to look for. So like loss of interest. So we have a lot of just people just commenting as well as like what you're saying, Chelsea, and agreeing that these are some other changes to look for. So they're definitely, and they're saying they love the convo. They said this is great information. And so we actually have one comment that actually just came in. So they said that they saw their therapist for the first time via telemed, and they weren't quite sure how it would be during the pandemic, which that's a lot of what people are thinking. It's like, how do I do virtual therapy? This is something I've never done before. I don't like it. And they said that it was amazing and so needed. And so they said they didn't even realize how much they needed. And they always tell their daughters and their friends when they have therapy appointment, and they said it helps to normalize it. It helps to normalize the, just break the barriers of the stigma of saying, you know, everyone, it doesn't matter what it is. This pandemic has shown us this is a time that we are all experiencing something very similar at the same time.
Yes.
And how this pandemic has affected us all in some kind of way. And just to have someone to reach out to say, you know what, this is different. We haven't experienced this before. This is very different. And how can I continue to thrive during this time? I love the fact that since the very first conversation that we had with Dr. Whitaker discussing Thrive and with Fulton County, and I was like, you know what, I like this. I like Thrive. And so I've been using it in everything that I could, even like personal conversations, like how can you thrive? And so I love it. I just love it. And so, but that's just so true. It's like talking to someone and saying, you know what, I just need to discuss and process what I am feeling in this moment. And it is okay.
I think to go back to what Elise said and throw in one other resource, this is a community effort, especially when it comes to suicide prevention. We can have all the resources in the world, but there can never be too much. One thing that we do have that has really made a big difference, we have a tip line in Fulton County, and it is not specific to anything, to any behavior. It can be threats, it can be bullying, and there is a mental health option. So what we've really seen happen that's been huge is, let's say it's dinner time and your daughter mentions that her friend on Instagram that, you know, she's known for a while is posting really dark things. We've had parents send in tips, and this has been very helpful. So please, parents, we need you. Send in tips and say, look, don't ask my daughter, but she said this, I'm really worried about this other child. Can you guys please help us? And absolutely, parents are actually, they tattle on their kids lots, and it's very helpful, and on other people's children. Do it, it's important. We need to know these things. Kids are the greatest source of information that we have. They see each other's social media. So if your child is talking about their friends and you're worried, please send that in on our tip line, and we'll get school counselors, school psychologists. We'll get on it as soon as it gets to us, and we can dig in and support that family. We won't tell them where it came from. They don't need to know that, but that is a great way for us to support. And you can always tell if students are sending them or parents, because the grammar's better, the punctuation's better. Parents send in very structured tips. Students just kind of on the fly, like they're texting, send them in. But that tip line has proven very helpful for us to get to other kids. So if kids aren't comfortable having a conversation with their friends, which I completely understand, we encourage them to send it into the tip line, and then we'll get to the other students. So tip line is a great way to get us on situations.
Yes, and we have community that's in our comments now agreeing that the tip line has done so much. So they agree that it has really been helpful.
That's great. I am so excited for the conversations that hopefully our conversation right now is going to spur in our communities and in families as we move forward. And just like we always say, if you or someone you know is struggling, might need someone just to talk to, might need just to figure some stuff out right now, Odyssey Family Counseling Center is open. We're 100% telehealth. We have services for everybody starting at the age of 4 on up. If you are listening, or you can see what's going on right now, you you're welcome to come and receive services at Odyssey Family Counseling Center. We're obviously in a lot of our South Fulton schools, but we also see families and adults and everybody in the community as well. So it's not just limited to the schools that we provide services. We even have medication management support, which can sometimes be really the difference for an individual or a child in getting to a place that they can be successful. So we have a lot of different services available. Our information is on our website, or on the Facebook page right here, and on our website, odysseycounseling.org. Our phone number is 404-762-9190. You can call and leave a message. If we don't answer, we'll get back to you really quickly. We make sure that we try and get people in as quickly as possible. So please don't hesitate to reach out if you need any support. Before we head out, I just want to remind you that check in on our Facebook page. Please like and subscribe and share with others. We also, just as a little tease, we have a YouTube channel that we have set up that we'll be sharing here very shortly. We've got that all put together, and that way we can even send out our videos more often. We're looking at all different ways to reach our community. So if you have ideas, please let us know. Yeah, this all is here because parents asked for it, because parents saw the need and said, we want something here. So you have just as much say in it as any of us sitting here on this call on the video right now. We welcome your feedback and your ideas. So if you have other ideas of other things that we could be doing to support the community of South Fulton, please do not hesitate to reach out. So Tedra, anything before we head out, and I'll let Chelsea, say her last thing too. Anything, Tedra, that you'd like to say to our community?
Nothing else. I think that we definitely appreciate you all. We appreciate you all commenting and being supportive to the South Fulton Mental Health Collaborative, because again, like Elise said, this is something that is for the community. And so we definitely appreciate the collaboration. We appreciate you, Chelsea, for being here. Thank you so much. We know that it's so busy right now with the schools and everything that you're doing. So thank you so much for taking time out to just be here for the community, to explain the just amount of resources that are out there. The parents have appreciated. I see a lot of people just in the comments just love it. They love the conversation. So thank you so much for bringing that to us today. And again, like we tell everyone else that comes every week, you are now part of the collaborative. So now you're a part of the family. We have inducted you into the family. So thank you so much. We love to hear if you come back again. So anything else that you have for us before we leave today?
I just want to say thanks to everyone that came today. Thanks to Elise and Tedra and everyone at Odyssey. We love you guys. You support us through and through. All I have to do is make one phone call and everything's taken care of. So I just appreciate you so much. And thanks everyone for coming. We will weather this eventually. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other. And if you have any ideas or things that we may not have thought of yet, tell us. This is a community effort, and I am part of that community too. So feedback is always good as well.
Thank you so much.
Thank you guys, and we will see you next month. We're going to post our calendar, so be on the lookout for that. But we'll see you for sure next month on a Wednesday at 12. Okay, guys? All right, I'll see you guys later.
All right, bye.
Bye.